Hi guys, hope you're having a great day so far. Well, now that the large majority of us are at home with the kids, you may be looking for some fresh ideas to help the kids educated, keeping their little hearts and minds sort of ticking over. One great topic, of course, of conversation to keep the kids busy, of course, is food. And this is something that all parents can educate their kids on, no matter what the age or the education level. So lucky for us today, we're joined by our very special guest, Alicia Edge, and more famously known as the dietitian to the Matildas, Australia's national football or soccer team. Now, Alicia is a mother of 3 kids under 5 and an advanced sports dietitian with a focus on high performance and general well-being. She uses her extensive knowledge to help others, whether it be from baby-led feeding, everyday wellness, or high performance athleticism with teams like the Matildas. We're really thrilled to have you today, Alicia. How you doing?
I'm really well, thanks, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me in these crazy, crazy times.
I know. And I think everyone at the moment is just, well, we've heard the phrase a million times, we're in unprecedented times, but it really is. And like we're just saying,
yeah, it's not an exaggeration this time, is it?
Yeah, it's just almost like a really bad film. Like we're all just like dreaming at the moment, and you just want to wake up and say, that was really crap, and just get back to life. But unfortunately, this is just this is our reality. But sorry, go.
No, all good. I think it's just real. Yeah, I'm just feeling for everyone at the moment, whether you are, if you're struggling financially to get that security down, but also everyone with kids at home and trying to find their way and their new way for who knows how long. And I think it's that uncertainty about time that's really hard. And I've had some really big discussions with our athletes about it this week, about, trying to refine purpose, trying to find a gift in all this. There has to be some positives that we can find. It can be sometimes too early to hear that. You might not be ready to hear that, but hopefully over time we can see some real things that we can work on with our kids, with our family, and get to a point where we're feeling really grateful for that next chapter once it happens.
Yeah. And that's just the thing, is just this is only just going to be for a certain amount of time. How we use this time to the best of our abilities and stay as positive as we can to be able to push our way through, because everyone's in the same scenario at the moment. It's just how we use this time in survival of the fittest, I think, within our minds, definitely. And I'd love to be able to pick your brain today on some inspirational topics around food that can be having with and some conversations that parents can be having with their kids whilst at home in isolation. Now, to begin with, we published your article, and the title of it is "What are nutrients? What do they do? And how to answer your kids' why questions about food." So, for someone who hasn't read the article, can you give us a little bit of an overview of what it's about and just what inspired you to write it?
I think as mums, we tend to panic a little bit when it comes to knowing what to feed our kids and also making sure that they're getting everything they need. And so the more we know about food and the more kind of little bricks that we know about how it builds up into what our overall diet should be, hopefully the more empowered we feel. So the main reason we wanted to write about nutrients wasn't to kind of make it all sciencey and overwhelming, but rather translate it into how you actually eat, and that's through food. And so a big message, hopefully, that came through the article is that we don't eat nutrients, we eat food. And so even when we're talking about high carbohydrate foods, even something like rice actually contains protein. And so then moving through these things and also knowing how nutrients help our body, we can then open this new conversation and this new curiosity with our kids.
Yeah. Well, let's get stuck into these questions. So question number 1 we've got for you. Got a few of them, but really, really excited to start.
I love how organized you are.
Question number 1, what are some of the key nutrients our bodies need and where are they found?
Yeah. So when we're talking nutrients, there's 2 main types that we talk about, and you may have heard these in different places. So the big chunk nutrients that we call are our macronutrients. So macro means big, and you can kind of think about them like that umbrella. So we've got carbohydrates, proteins, fats, And alcohol. So for you guys playing at home, you'll be talking about alcohol, but hopefully with your kids, it's not a conversation we're having a lot. But yeah, they're your macronutrients. So there's 4 of them, but usually we're talking about the 3. And then under that umbrella are all what we call our micronutrients. So our micronutrients, or small, are things like our minerals and our vitamins. And so they're coming from all different types of foods, and every food has a different type of an amount of micronutrients. So they're things like our minerals, like sodium, magnesium, things that you would have thought about there. And then our vitamins, there's 2 types. There's fat soluble and there's water soluble. So fat soluble are your A, D, E, and K. And fat soluble we want to know about because we can actually store fat soluble. So in our fat stores and with eating fat, we can actually help to absorb fat soluble vitamins and also help us get through. So for example, vitamin D, we get most of that over summer when we're in the sun and getting sunlight, and we can actually store that over the winter months. So if our vitamin D stores are low in summer, we're going to struggle through winter. So that's the type of thing we're talking about there. Water soluble are vitamins like your B vitamins. And you might think about those if you take a multivitamin, your wee turns really yellow.
Yep.
And water soluble, that happens because you're weeing out anything you don't need.
Flushes out.
Yeah, you don't absorb excess, if you like. So if you're going to take a multivitamin, and you don't need it, you're going to wee a lot out. So you have expensive wee is probably the easiest way to put that. And there's no risk of overdoing it because you do weed out, whereas you can overdo the fat soluble ones. So it's really important we don't supplement with A, D, E, and K unless we need to.
Right.
So that's kind of the easy way to explain those. And then they're like we can really delve down into more, but they're our big ones that we need to worry about. And really, in terms of getting those, they're through a whole range of foods.
Yeah. And so at the moment we've spoken about macro and micronutrients. There's lots of other stuff in the article sort of covers. Now, high performance athleticism like the Matildas really requires a lot of high level research nutrient groups to keep their bodies fit and strong. Look, what lessons can parents learn from this? A strong focus on their diet for their family during this like coronavirus pandemic. What can they learn from all of this stuff?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things we always talk about with our clients, because our clients, even though we're performance nutrition, we work from with anyone like a new mum all the way up to our pro athletes. And the reason for that is that performance translates. So the definition of performance will be different for each person. So if I ask you, Rachel, what performance means to you, you might say, oh, I want to have more energy, or I want to be more confident, or I want to, aim for health, or whatever it may be.
Yep.
And then if I ask an elite pro athlete, not saying you're not, Rachel, not saying you're not a pro athlete.
I'm an elite pro athlete of a keyboard and a mouse.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. See? Well, that's another thing, right? So also another thing when we're talking to people who work in a desk, it might be that, oh, well, performance to me means concentration and focus and productivity. So that's lots of things we work on with people in the workplace, and then also new mums as they're kind of getting out and they're into the depths of sleep deprivation. Then when we're talking to a pro athlete, their response to performance is like, I want to get a PB, I want to win, I want to have my best power. And, you're talking a lot about weight and power to weight and strength and performance in the piece of the sport. So when we're thinking about Matildas, we translate that really quickly to the family life. And it might sound like a really big stretch, but what we focus on first, no matter who you are, is that base level of nutrition. So we're talking about things like those big rocks. So how colorful is your plate? How much variety is in that? What's the quality of your protein like? Are you getting enough carbohydrates in for how much you're moving and how much you need to grow? So all these things translate to the home in the way that, okay, well, how much color are we getting on our plates day to day? How much variety we are managing there? Do your kids only eat, brown foods, or do your kids not touch a certain color of food? And those types of things are like, okay, we need to increase variety or quality or whatever it may be. And then we're talking about protein. So protein are like your building blocks for muscle development and recovery, but they're also really important in times of growth. So our kiddies, they need a lot less protein than what you might think. I think the normalization of protein supplements and things is something we could talk about all day, but they're not something your kids need, because we get a lot of proteins for our food. And then we're also talking about carbohydrates. So the more we move and the more we run and the more we jump or whatever it may be, the more carbohydrates we need. So as our kids move a lot more than a lot of us, their need for carbohydrate is actually higher than it is for the person who sits at the desk all day, like me. And Rachel. So when we're just sitting and our heart rate isn't very high, we're kind of just very sedentary, we don't need all that much carbohydrate. We've got enough going through our bloodstream from what we've eaten. But as we start running or dive into the swimming pool or go for a bike ride and all these things we're all dreaming of doing now that we're stuck at home, we do need more carbohydrate to fuel that activity. And so all these things that we're using for our athletes are then translated into the home for our kiddies. So that's the really big piece there. And there's no one way or no one right way. We really value everyone's different beliefs around food. Their preferences around food. And so there's no set way to eat, but rather just a progress that you can aim for.
Yeah. And look, parents may be focused feeding their families like a healthier diet during this time, given they're home, they've got more time to be cooking a full meal, as opposed to rushing home from work and everything else. And B, I guess they're really probably more focused on providing greater nutritional quality, like to strengthen their family's immune system. So in doing this, I guess I'm guessing this may actually expose children to veggies and foods maybe that they're not used to as well, potentially as well, seeing more vegetables on the plate. So in saying that, how do you suggest that we make food fun and educational for young eaters at this time then?
Yeah, I think you just highlighted a real silver lining of this whole situation. So all of a sudden we've got time to work on things that we may have wished we had previously, and now we suddenly do. So how do we maximize that opportunity? So one thing that we know is that the parent showing kids and being there for kids to show normalization around eating different foods is number one. Both the mum and dad are really important in that situation if you're both at home as much as possible. And so that way you talk about foods and the way that you accept foods and don't necessarily speak up about, oh, I don't like that, or mummy doesn't like that, or daddy doesn't like that food. We need to remove that conversation and instead talk a little bit differently about accepting different foods and really striving for curiosity. One thing that we see a lot of is that, oh, my kids don't like veggies, so I'm just going to blitz them up and hide them. And that's a really good strategy, but remembering you want to normalize veggies as well. So what we say is, if you're going to blitz up veggies and hide them, we also want to show veggies as well. So do both. And one thing that does is, number one, it makes you relaxed as a parent, because you're like, hey, they're having their veggies and they don't know. And so I'm going to be more relaxed at the table. And then the other side of that is they're going to feel that relaxation and actually feel a little bit more comfortable in exploring. And so, for example, that might look like, say, a bolognese filled with lots of veggies that they can't see, and you might put mushroom or chopped carrot or something like that through it. So they're still seeing chunks of veggies, but there's lots of hidden. It might be that there's lots of hidden veggies in a certain like wet dish, and then there's a side of steamed veggies or salad on the plate that they can nibble. So there's different ways to do it, but what you're wanting to do is normalize vegetables, make them realize that there's something to enjoy and explore rather than something that they have to eat. And that probably leads us into that why question, right?
So, and I was just about to ask, when parents ask the question why about foods, like, why do I have to eat this, and what is this and why? How are they better to answer that when the kids are asking that question?
I think the nicest thing about kids is their curiosity, and even though it gets so tiring, the why question, oh my word, my 2-year-old at the moment is like, why why? And I was like, oh, this is never ending. There is no right answer here. The more we can play with that and actually embrace it, the better.
Yeah.
It opens up a lot of opportunities there to talk, not only of like, oh, well, it's just good for us, or it's a healthy food. Instead, flipping that and actually talking about it as food.
Yes.
One thing I think we tend to do as parents, and that's really because we were taught that, and diet culture has taught us that there's good and bad foods. There's a morality around foods. What we want to do is remove that. And that's a topic for a totally different conversation, Rachel, because it's a big one.
Yes.
And instead talk about food as all equal. It's just that our different roles change. So I don't know if it's something that you've covered in other videos, but there's this responsibility that you as the parent decide what they eat and when,
Yep.
and the kids decide if they actually eat it and how much they eat.
Yeah.
And so when you've taken over that role, you can then start to go, let them play and actually talk about what they're going to do. So they want to know why. They want to know that, you know, is it going to increase their muscles? Is it going to make them stronger? Is it going to help them see? All these types of things that are going like, oh my goodness. So my son eats a piece of broccoli and he shows me his muscles as he's doing it. I'm not going to show you my muscles because they're weak as at the moment. And then no flex here. And then he'll be like, oh no, this arm's not needing another one. So he'll like have to have 2 broccoli to make sure they're even. Yeah. And he'll really tell his sister, he'll be like, oh, Florence, your muscles are not good because you didn't eat them today. So it's like this game that's passed down. And if anyone can make their oldest child a good eater, it really helps that peer pressure as the other kids come through.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Sorry, go continue. Yeah.
No, you're right.
No, I was just going to say, because our audience really in saying that in different ages, like we've got a broad audience with regards to the ages of the children. So would love for you to maybe just like break down per age group what parents could be talking to their kids about, and starting with preschoolers. So I know that the article covers some really great information, but if we were to really sort of make it quite sort of easy for parents, what should they be talking about to their preschoolers?
Yeah, I love that. So around that 1 or 2 year old age, you're really just talking about real basics that they're kind of learning at the same time anyway. Things like colour and texture, hot or cold, float or sink is a really fun game. So I know people say don't play at the table, but there's a boundary there that you can really work towards. So kids won't necessarily just eat a new food. It'll be a rare case if they feel comfortable enough just to scoff it in. They'll do a lot of exploring first. And even our 7-month-old, if you watch her with a new food, she'll like bang it a bit, squish it a bit, touch it to her lips a bit before she feels ready to actually eat it. And so that exploration continues. So even if your child doesn't eat a new food, you can still really get them to explore, what color is it? Is it squishy or crunchy? And, you know, they actually do that and then taste it. Suckers. And you can have crunch competitions, you know, so everyone can get their carrot or their things and see who can crunch the loudest carrot. You can look at getting a bowl of water and seeing which one floats, which one sinks. Why is that? You know, all these types of conversations from that 1 to 2 year old age are perfect, and still our 4-year-old loves it as well. As they get a bit older, you can start to then really. What was that? Sorry?
What would you say for about primary school age kids? What would you say?
Yeah. As they get older, you can really start to bring in the body side of things. So what it does, what it helps with, why we need it, but not just, oh, it's good for us. It's really like, oh, this has a really cool purpose. And even fun things like matching. Well, if we team this with that, we can actually absorb more of the nutrients, and, you know, that sciencey and the math side of things. Also getting them involved in the kitchen has the maths aspect. So we've got cup measuring, counting, all those side of things bringing into it. And one thing that our child loves is knowing how it's made or how it's grown. So those types of things are really nice, of like, okay, well, where's that grown? Is that a tree? Is it underground? Can I watch a YouTube clip on how that's made? You know, those sort of things is really, really cool, because, you know, gone are the days that we make everything. But if they can understand those processes and be curious about it, they're more likely to go, oh, I want to try that, or can we cook with it? and getting them involved in as many processes as possible now that you're at home is a really cool thing. So obviously, you know, food availability is a bit tough at the moment. It'll flatten out, promise you. Australia has not run out of food.
Yeah.
It's just that they have struggled to restock in time. So your food availability will be short-term problem. It'll come back. And so once it is back and you've got, you know, a well-stocked kitchen, if you have missed out on stuff, there's a lot of exploring to be done, and a lot of fun to all sit down at the table, all chat around this and make it a really fun experience, because kids are really sensitive to how you feel. So if you're sitting down frantic and frustrated and why don't you eat, and it's a fight before you even sit down, they're going to really work towards, you know, really fighting back before you've even started as well.
Yeah.
So the more that you can not react, and the more you can be quite fun and relaxed and really have that response of, you know, say last night, my 2-year-old, we made pizzas, we did all the right things, we made them together, and she still was like, I don't want this. It would be so easy to go, oh, I made this nice dinner, I can't believe you don't like it, you will eat this dinner, because we're tired and we're like, just eat the bloody dinner. Yeah. But instead, if we can take a step back and go, okay, what's she feeling? Why isn't she wanting this? And really then talk through really calmly, you know, that's okay. There's no stress on eating this. There's no pressure around any of this, but this is the only thing we've got for dinner. And so you can explore, you can sit with us. And then if you're not happy, then, you know, like you can explore past that. But it's really about making sure that they know that this is dinner and making sure they've got a safe food. So that they do feel ready to explore and they know that at least one food on their plate is something they enjoy. And that's where I stuffed up, by the way. So I didn't put a safe food on the plate. I put pizza, which she usually likes, but I wasn't 100% sure she would like it that night. But if I put pizza plus some safe food, say some grapes or some strawberries or something like that, that I know she will always love, it would have been a much different conversation.
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting point there, to be able to always have that safe food on the plate that they know.
Yeah, it's probably another one for another video. Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah.
And just getting back to the article, so basically everything in there, you could speak to your secondary sort of age children, I think, which is great. So we've covered off on the preschool, the primary school, and the secondary. But with this now, what activities can parents be doing at home to demonstrate these lessons? Because you've got some great tips in the article.
Parents being involved and showing their enjoyment of food and their relationship with food is a really big one. One thing that we work on first is the parents' relationship with food. So if you're always talking about a food being fattening or bad or something we can't have, then the kids are going to reflect that very quickly. They absorb it very quickly. So one reason we don't necessarily go straight to the kids sometimes when we're working with you, we go to the parent, because once the parent is feeling more confident and they have a much more positive relationship with food, that flows onto the kids so quickly, and it's this beautiful thing that we watch. So that's number one, is really reflecting on your own relationship with food with curiosity, not judgment. That is a really big thing that we push. So if you do find yourself, you know, saying something, it's okay to go, whoa, what was that and where'd that come from? I need to take stock, not necessarily stress about it, but just explore it and be curious about where you can go from there. Other things you can be doing is, you know, the cooking side of things, preparing. When kids prepare and cook, you know, they are more likely to eat it, but it's not a guarantee. That, like, as you said last night, like pizza didn't work. But it is nice and it does explore and it does teach, and it is a really nice time filler too. And then additional to that, at the table, sitting as a family as much as possible. It's not always possible, but it might be more possible at the moment, which is really, really nice. So the more that you can display food eating together, the more you can chat about foods together, the more that they can see you eating different foods, the more progress you will make. And, you know, you're sitting with them and encouraging them and keeping them feeling safe. Whereas if you're giving the kids food and then walking away and doing something else, they're kind of sitting there going, I've got all this food, I don't know what it is, and I have no one around me to actually reassure me about this. So it's like tantrum time, or they're feeling really tired at that time as well. So by sitting with them and making it a family thing, it does definitely help and just bring you into a place of being ready to make progress.
Yeah, And at the bottom of the article, you also highlight some main takeaways to not takeaway foods, but lessons.
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
to maximize nutrients overall.
Yeah.
I've got the article in front of me. I can sort of start to sort of just quickly read through them and just tell me what your thoughts are, if there's anything else.
Yeah, go for it.
So the first one is mix it up by serving some raw and some cooked food simultaneously.
Yeah.
So that's a really great point. The second one, repurpose the juice and fluids left over from cooking meats and veggies. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so when you're cooking different foods, there is this change in their nutrients. So mainly we're talking about our micronutrients here. So for example, when we cook some veggies in water, particularly ones high in water-soluble vitamins, a lot of those vitamins will go into the water and they'll be lost. And also they're very sensitive to heat, like vitamin C will be reduced in heat. And so if we can actually utilize that water again, it's a really big nutrient source. So things like making stocks out of it or soups can actually be something really, really cool that you can do. And same with meat. So B vitamins is a water-soluble vitamin that I mentioned earlier, and they're high in meats. So things like your B12 is something you've probably heard of, and that's high in meat. But because it's water soluble, when you lose the juices of the meat, you lose a lot of that as well. Not all of it, you still get lots from the meat. But if you can put the juices into different sauces or gravies, then it can actually be somewhere that you end up getting more nutrients than you realize. So that's where that different variety in cooking methods is really important. Not boiling veggies too much is a really big one, because you will lose a lot of nutrients. So things like microwave or steaming are all much better opportunities there. And repurposing the fluids, so you're getting in those water-soluble vitamins where you can as well.
Yeah. And another point you mentioned also is to keep the peel on the veggies where possible.
Yeah.
So stuff like jacket potatoes. Tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the skin of veggies, a lot of the fiber is in that, but a lot of the nutrients are in it as well. It's a very nutrient dense source. So if you can even cook veggies with the skin on and then take it off, you're still going to get some benefit there. Kids won't always eat the skin, but I always say, like, start the way you want to finish. So do the skin, and then they'll decide over time that it's normal and start to eat it eventually. It's like my current war on baby spinach. I'll just keep putting it on their plate. and the other day they actually ate it. So after years of having one or two spinach leaves, we got there. Yeah. So it was really funny how it just was this very long thing, and we never talked about not liking baby spinach. It was like, you don't like it yet. You will one day. So we're just going to keep it there. And when your taste buds are ready, they'll know. So yeah, it was this really funny long process, and we finally got there. So that's another thing about the skin. So anything from fruit and veggies, try and keep the skin on, but there's no pressure in that of always doing it, but it is a nice way to keep in some nutrients.
Now, you've really given us some really practical ideas and simple ideas to help families, teaching their kids about food, and especially sort of around meal times and everything else. Is there anything else, any other key points you'd love to be able to communicate to them outside of what's in the article, and or just to paraphrase, just summarize everything that we've just sort of spoken about? Is there any sort of key points you'd love to be able to sort of to get out there?
I could talk a long time about food and kids, as you could probably tell. So I think there's a few topics that we've kind of brushed over today that we'll probably have to delve into a little bit deeper, Rachel, at some stage. Yep. So that's when I guess the biggest thing, and it's something that we put on our kids' Instagram page the other day, was really making sure that it's not about good or bad, and it's not about doing 110% this type of diet or this type of food. It's about that positive relationship with food. And if you can aim for a relaxed, positive relationship with food for your kids and your family, and really just aim for that progress, you will be doing so well. I think as parents, we always think the worst, and we're always our worst enemy when it comes to, I'm never doing enough, my kids aren't eating enough, I should be doing better. You are doing an incredible job, and the best job you can. It's now going, okay, I've got a little bit of extra time or a little bit of opportunity now. What can I do better? And it may just be one or two different little things. Don't try and change everything all at once. Just change one or two things that you feel really confident in trying to focus on, and go from there, and just keep building from there. Because very tough job, but yeah, if you can go in feeling a little bit relaxed and confident, it would go a really long way.
Yeah. Well, look, Alicia, I've absolutely loved chatting with you today, and I'm really looking forward to some other chats in
Yeah.
the near future. If parents have got any other questions for you, whereabouts can they find you?
Yeah, so we've got 2 Instagram pages. So Compete Nutrition is like the adult performance nutrition piece.
Yep.
It's where the sports nutrition and performance nutrition lie. And we've got an online dashboard where you can get all online support there. We do work with development athletes in terms of the child space, and it's all done via our dashboard, and you can chat to us there anytime. We've also got free assessments on our website. If you were like, oh, I would love more energy, or I'd love more concentration, then do a free assessment and I'll get back to you in person to tell you how to get started, and a few little tips and tricks you can do. Our other little passion project is an Instagram page called baby_led_feeding. So we are changing the name because it's obviously evolved a lot since we first started with a 4.5-year-old now. So we talk about all things baby nutrition all the way up to toddler, and getting them involved in the kitchen and their relationship with food. So if you've got questions, we always have our PM boxes very full. We try and give out as much information as we can, and it's done with another dietitian, Karen. So both of us have little ones, and more than happy to answer your questions there as well.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we've got all those links at the bottom of the introduction paragraph. Alicia, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time. Can't wait to chat with
You're
you
welcome.
soon. Give my love to the kids.
Oh, thank you.
See ya. Bye.
See you, Rachel.